There's no change atop of their MLB Power Rankings as Matt Snyder kept the fighting Phillies at #1. Padres are tied for the biggest risers, up 4 spots, and now sit inside the top 10. Meanwhile, the defending champs are down bad this week, 7 slots all the way to 23. Hey there, folks. I'm Tommy Tran. No Matt Snyder this week, but Jim Bowden with us for our weekly chat. Our MLB insider joining us here. So, Jim, let's talk about Matt Snyder's #3 team in his power rankings, the Baltimore Orioles, who slugged 60 homers in the month of June, and Gunnar Henderson entering the home run derby. We haven't talked about Baltimore too many times in our weekly chats here. Give me a little bit more about why we should be talking about the O's.
Yeah, the Baltimore Orioles starting rotation has the best ERA in the league. You got to start with that, and that's part of the reason why they're sitting there atop the American League right now in terms of the standings and with the best record, although they are dealing with the injuries to Kyle Bradish and John Means, who are both out for this season. But Corbin Burns is pitching like an ace. Grayson Rodriguez is doing the same, and they've got a lot of production in the middle and back of the rotation, including Cole Irvin. But GM Mike Elias, interestingly, has been out there. He has been working on trades, and I will be surprised if he doesn't land another starting pitcher between now and the July 30th trade deadline. He only has 29 days left, but he's talked to the White Sox about Garrett Crochet and Eric Fedde. He's even talked to the Tigers about maybe bringing Jack Flaherty back if they trade him. So that's something to watch with Baltimore. Now, in terms of Gunnar Henderson, pretty exciting that he was the first player announced going to the home run derby. This is going to be an exciting derby. We're waiting to see if Aaron Judge is going to participate. Of course, Judge leads Major League Baseball in home runs. Henderson is tied at 26 with Shohei Ohtani. We're not expecting Ohtani to participate because of his continuing rehab coming back from that Tommy John surgery. But I think we've got some former home run champion winners that could participate. We're waiting to hear about Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, and maybe even Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to see if any of them want to come back to win yet another title. And I think the one guy to watch in the National League is Marcell Ozuna, who leads the NL with 21 homers. It would be nice to see him in the Derby. And also one of the Guardians. The Guardians have had a great season so far this year. You saw him on your power rankings at #3. Jose Ramirez has 23. Josh Naylor with 20 homers. I would guess one of the two at least will be in this derby.
Thanks for the update. And I'm hearing something about another tweak to the format, but we've got a couple weeks to talk about it when we get there, Jim. By the way, fun series in the American League with the AL West leading Mariners starting this week for Baltimore. Rodriguez and Kirby in the series opener should be fun. So let's focus on the M's, which despite their winning record, Jim, coming at 13 in Matt Snyder's power rankings. Maybe that has to do with their MLB worst .218 team batting average here. What are you hearing in terms of what Jerry Dipoto might do to help maybe get some reinforcements in that lineup?
Yeah, look, I talked to Jerry Dipoto yesterday. I had him on my MLB Network radio show on Sirius XM. And, he pointed out that, look, his starting rotation is second in the league to Baltimore. And that's why they are where they are in the standings. And yet the offense, it's not just that they're last in batting average. I think the number that really sticks out to me, they have punched out 877 times as a team. That's last in baseball. So, their bats just aren't making enough contact. They are 12th in home runs, which is how they are scoring their runs. They're 25th in on-base percentage. So, I talked to Jerry and I said, look, if you get to October, you have the starting pitching that can literally run the table with Louis Castillo and George Kirby and Logan Gilbert and Brian Wu. I mean, so the pitching's really good, but the offense just can't compete really with Baltimore or the Yankees. And we'll probably see it in this series with Seattle against Baltimore. It's going to be fascinating, which starts tonight. But I think, Tommy, what Jerry made very clear to me, and I asked him specifically, will the owners give you the money to go out and spend it to get some bats at the deadline? And will you trade your top prospects if that's what it takes to win, knowing that your window to win a championship is probably the next 2 or 3 years? He said absolutely to both. Ownership has the money to back it, and he's willing to trade the prospects it takes. Now, he's talked to the White Sox about Lewis Robert. He's talked to the Rockies about Ryan McMahon. He's talked to the Angels about Taylor Ward. And he said, look, even if I don't get a star, I might do something like I did last year when I traded for Carlos Santana. And what he means by that is maybe bring in another leader type of hitter, even if it's not a premium hitter, but someone that can help get Julio Rodriguez started, and Ty France started, and J.P. Crawford started, and Jorge Polanco started. Because all 4 of those guys are underachieving. He's worried about the offense. But he said, look, first and foremost, he's got to get his own guys going. He's already fired the hitting coach. I don't think he's going to fire another one. So we better hope these bats start to come to fire. But this is a very interesting team.
All right. Those fans in the Pacific Northwest will like to hear about the aggressiveness heading into the trade deadline from their executive. All right. Let's get to James Wood, called up to make his major league debut for the Nationals. Now, Nats diehards, Jim, will certainly know who this young man is, but others might not know, and the link that he has to Juan Soto. Tell us a little more.
Yeah, he was the headliner in the Juan Soto deal when Washington traded him to San Diego. He came along with Abrams, the shortstop C.J. Abrams, the catcher Keibert Ruiz, the left-hand pitcher Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel Jr., but James Wood was always looked as the headliner, the player with the highest ceiling. And he started the year at AAA for Washington, batting .353. On-base percentage, .463 with 10 homers and 10 steals. And all of us have been watching him all year going, why isn't he in the big leagues? Why did they take so long? So coming on this show, I knew I was coming on. I called Mike Rizzo an hour ago. He's the president and GM of the Washington Nationals. And I said, why did you take so long to promote James Wood? Why did it take until today? And this is what he told me. He said the goal in spring training was to get him 200 at-bats at AAA, number one. Number two, they wanted him to see different pitchers. He wanted him to learn the strike zone, increase his walks, and decrease his strikeouts. He's done both of those. He said he wanted to see him have more at-bats against left-handed pitching because he's going to play against righties and lefties. He wanted to improve his base running and base running instincts. He also said he wanted his reads and routes to get better, not just in center, but in right and left so he could play all three outfield positions. He said to me, look, understand he is not yet a finished product, but he has done everything we've asked him to. He has earned this promotion, and it is James Wood Day in Washington.
All right, let's finish up with Matt Snyder's cellar dweller, the White Sox, dead last in his power rankings. You mentioned Garrett Crochet. There's rumors about an extension. There's rumors about trades. What are you hearing about what's happening with him and the White Sox at the moment, Jim?
Yeah, let's be very clear what Chris Getz is telling the other general managers. He is saying every player on my major league roster is available. He is listening to all of them. Now, I talked to 4 general managers yesterday who have been in discussions with Chicago, and all of them said the same thing to me. The White Sox are not in a hurry. They're going to take their time, and every indication they're getting is that the White Sox are going to wait until after the draft that takes place next week in Arlington, Texas. Once that draft is over, then the focus between the next day and July 30th is probably going to be the timetable. Most GMs believe Garrett Crochet will be traded. They also believe that Eric Fetty will be traded and Michael Kopech will be traded. They're kind of mixed on whether or not Lewis Robert actually gets moved. But make no doubt about who the highlight, who the headliner of this year's trade deadline is going to be. It is going to be the Chicago White Sox.
As always, great quality baseball time with our Jim Bowden. Thank you, Jim. Pretty light slate tonight in Major League Baseball. Everybody gearing up for the holiday. But Matt Snyder on CBSSports.com on the White Sox put this. This is Chris Getz' first trade deadline as the man in charge, and it's a big one.